Okay, so without much further ado, let's introduce our very own speaker, Mr. Bright Okereke, to come take us in this class. Mr. Bright.
Hey, I want to miss my mic. Hello, good afternoon, good evening. As you were saying, a person that asked the question, now, wow, yeah, it has been
Yeah.
very interesting. As I've left, I'll call her, come and join her because that's much should not ask, but it's a very good question. And I think after this class, we'll move on for site document. So things like floor plan, and approval, and things, so that you also understand. If I think if you're how to read sites because you're working a lot. So we're going to do a class for that. But the only thing is I'll prefer we do that page. I prefer we do that class where site. Yeah, okay. So you can see what each thing represents. So today's class, I'll try to make it as quick as possible so I can touch all the major points and we can learn a lot from it. So we want to cover documentation. I want to first start with the documents, the different documents that the clients get and what they mean. So I want to start from the client side. One of the first they will ask you is what documents will I get? Sometimes they'll ask you what documents the title the land has. Then there's what document do I get? So I want to cover the part of what document do they get. So if a client is buying a property, one of the documents they get if they are buying is deed of assignment. So deed of assignment is to show transfer of ownership that Mr. A is selling to Mr. B. That's the summary of it. It can be a detailed document, it can be a short one. But the major purpose of deed of assignment is to show um that you are transferring ownership. That this person bought 3 units of 1 bedroom apartment from Mr. B. So if me I'm selling and Alexandra is buying, I would issue a deed of assignment saying that I am selling so and so to Alexandra. So that's deed of assignment. So deed of assignment is the official title that they will now take to Alausa to register. So when they register it Alausa, depending on the document that I have, they will now be upgraded to the title owners. So each document is registered with the government. So if your title, you've not gone to the government, which is very common, a lot of people they buy properties, don't go to government to register it. So if you've not registered in the government, technically you are not yet the full owner. Though it's very common, it's okay because the process also takes time. But it's something that you have to do when you have a title document. You have to go and register it so that when they do search, so search is when you hear a client say, I want to do search, I want to do search, is they will go to Alausa and confirm, okay, this land though, who owns it truly, who is registered with you as the owner. Then when they find out who is registered, the owner say, okay, this person, let's say James is registered as the owner. Let's say James is registered as the owner. Did James sell to you, or who sold to you that you want to sell again? So it will show like the track record from the person who bought down, like a trail down to the current owner. So when they say that they want to check title document, is to confirm who is last registered on that land. So deed of assignment, there's also deed of sublease. If a client is buying a lease property, they are either getting a deed of lease or deed of sublease. So most times when they buy a lease property, they are probably buying from a developer who also leases the property. So if I lease and somebody else is buying from my lease, what I will issue is sublease. But if I'm the owner and somebody else is buying directly from me, the owner of the land, what I will issue to them is a lease agreement, a deed of lease. So we have deed of assignment, deed of lease, deed of sublease. Then you have contract of sale. So let's say the client is paying in installments or the deed of assignment is not yet ready. So usually we would issue a contract of sale. Contract of sale is a simple agreement to say, Mr. A has sold to Mr. B, and here are the terms of the sale. These are what the terms, these are all the things involved. Now, the difference with this contract of sale is it's not the main document to transfer ownership. It's just to show that there's a transaction going on. that there is an active transaction going on. The main one that shows transfer of ownership is deed of assignment. But contract of sale is there to say, okay, there's a transaction going on. Now, if it's a lease property, to be contract of lease or contract of sublease or contract of, depending on whatever titles on the land. So those are the documents the client get. Then there's deed of, then there's survey. So survey is done by a surveyor. Survey shows the size of what the person is getting. What exactly is the person getting? So if you remember in probably in geography and in mathematics, they probably taught you longitude and latitude. So those longitude and latitude lines are included everywhere. So every location has a particular longitude and latitude it has, and a specific coordinates on the global map. So each house have unique coordinates. So what the survey does is it maps out the coordinate of that land, where exactly that land is, and then the property the person is buying, where it is. So survey is very, very important. And most times you attach survey with a deed of assignment to show, okay, this land we are talking about as so location. These are the coordinates. This is where the land starts. This is where the land ends. This is where the property starts. This is where the property ends. So that's one of the major need for survey. So usually, other things that they do is survey. So when you have a property, you must have a registered survey that will be registered with survey or general office. So most times when people want to buy land, they usually do a search on the survey too. So one thing that have doing search on survey does is you take it to survey general office and survey, they will check in the office. Does government have plans to do anything on this land? Does government have plans to do anything on this land? All those things they can check it with the master plan survey. So survey shows the exact location. It's usually blue. I would send samples of all these type documents to the group so you guys can see it and know what it looks like physically. So survey will show you exactly where the land is, the coordinate of the land, and if there's anything around, you can find out through the survey. You can know how you can even plan what you want to build and other things from survey of the land. Now, the second side of documentation is now the title document, which is the ones the client asks for pertaining to the property you are selling. This one I just went through are the ones the clients will get when they buy. This one is the one clients usually ask for. So things are like that is like C of O. So C of O is certificate of occupancy. Now, one interesting thing about C of O, people really like it. For some reason, it has gained reputation as one of the most solid documents. Not to be honest, personally, I prefer registered conveyance because unlike C of O, it doesn't have a timeline. So there's no deadline to it. C of O is like you are getting a list from the government. So it's a 99-year list you get from the government that you renew every 99 years, basically. So after 99 years, you go and meet the government and you renew. At least that's the current theory. And it recently started, I think, in 1970s. That's when they just started C of O. So whenever you are doing deals with older land, you might not come across C of O. You might get deed of conveyance or registered conveyance. Now, registered conveyance and deed of conveyance, they are the same title document, but they are usually used interchangeably. So that one is like a registered deed of assignment. Usually, all these older lands, that's what they come with. A registered deed of assignment with the government. So it's either you buy people that buy land from families. You know, most land people buy it from families in an area. Like where we have Mahmood Leeds, not Leeds, Chester 1, Oxford, Chester 2. Those lands they belong to only Kate family. So anybody that is buying would have a registered conveyance for only Kate family to them. Now, if you now have that registered conveyance, you can go and register it to the government where you now get your governor's consent. So governor's consent, in fact, all these things are very tricky because usually they are kind of same thing, different language. So governor's consent is a registered deed of assignment, basically. So registered deed of assignment that government has acknowledged that you are the owner of this land. So if I sell my land, you have a deed of assignment. If you register it, you can get a governor's consent and now show that government is aware that Bright Okereke is now the owner of the land. Then there's one other title document, early letter of administration. So letter of administration is very important. Now, in a case where somebody has a land and the person dies, please, I think you guys will probably have to watch. We are recording this class. You probably have to go back to watch it again. If you are not taking notes, you probably have to now sit down and take notes and understand and watch it again and again, so I can get a good grasp of what it is I'm saying. So, LA letter of administration is when somebody has a land and the person dies without leaving a will, right? There has to be a document showing who is now in charge of this land now. Let's say me now, I marry 4 wives, I have 15 children, I die, but I own 1 unit in Bradford. Who owns that 1 unit now among my 15 children and 4 wives? Nobody knows because I did not leave a will. Now, LA is something that the family can do to show that this person, and this person are now the administrators of this land. So usually the process is long. They will publish on newspaper, plenty other processes before the LA will come out. When LA come out is okay, oh, A, B, and C, or let me use fake name, John, Jude, and James. These three people are the administrators of this property. Now, if a land has LA, it means the owner is not around anymore. The owner on the title is dead, and the people on the LA has been given legal rights to transact on that property. So, especially when there is no will, because it's always better. Will is a better documentation to have. If you die and leave a will, the will can clearly say, okay, Mr. A is inheriting this plot of land, so Mr. A can transact anything on that land. But when will is not available, they do a letter of administration to show that okay, this person or this other person has the legal authority to transact on that land. So no other person can sign any documentation on that land other than the people on that letter of administration. So you have governor's consent. I think I've explained deed of conveyance slash registered conveyance. I've explained governor's consent. I've also explained the letter of administration. Then there's receipts. Receipts is just receipts, a signed paper that okay, I've collected money for so and so transaction. So who has any question? Is there anyone I've not covered? Who has question about this different document? Please, you can raise your hand so I can ask. Elijah, please ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good evening, sir. So, please, sir, there's one other one that I got to hear of, but I don't really understand. Is the power of attorney. So, I want to know where it falls in. Is it
That's that is similar to letter of administration. It's very similar
okay?
to letter of administration. So it's saying, okay, the owner is not around, but this person has rights to transact on this property. So he plays similar role with letter of administration, but just a different process.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mm. Say power attorney, the person will be alive sometimes, right? Or most times this person is alive. Okay. So one of the major differences, most times power of attorney happens when the person is still alive. So the person is still alive and the person is basically giving someone else the right to transact on the property.
All
So
right, sir.
like let's
Thank
say
you,
I
sir.
have a lot of properties now. Most rich people they do that in a lot. They have a lot of properties everywhere. They will not give power of attorney to maybe the head of one department in their company or their lawyer or their accountant. So it means that person can do transaction on behalf of that person. But it's usually used when the person is alive. That's generally. So does that answer your question, Elijah?
Very well, sir. Very well, sir.
Okay. Oli, you can ask your question. Oliwa, interesting. That's
Good
that
evening, sir.
pronunciation.
Good
Good
evening,
evening.
sir. Sorry, the last time I used zero gravity, today I'm using a different email. So my
Okay, no
question
problem.
is, Please, what's the difference between the title and C of O?
So C of O is a title. So when someone asks what's the title on the land, the title is C of O. If the land is the C of O land, the title could be governor's consent. The title could be registered conveyance. So title is asking, okay, which document does that land have? There are a lot of words that are used interchangeably. So they can ask you what's the title on the land, or they can ask you which document does the land have. So title is basically asking you which one is on the land. Olaiwaju. Okay,
Okay.
does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Olaiwaju, what's up?
Yeah, good afternoon, boss.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm actually new to this. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
I'm actually new to this, but there are some titles that are kind of strange to me, and I would like if you can
Which
help
one?
with it. There is one, they call it excision or something
In
like that.
fact, that excision is even yesterday. I just heard the gist about what excision is. Was I had a meeting with someone, the person even explained what excision is. So excision is basically there are some families that have properties, right?
Okay.
But they don't have, government has not yet given them full rights over that property. So there is a time earlier, from like 70s, 80s, they said actually documenting all this family ownership of land, especially in Lagos. So, like in my village now, you can come and say, our Igwe owns this whole place. And most times, they might not have any title at all, right? The government does not recognize that whole thing. So, in Lagos, a lot of land and area are owned by certain families. Now, that excision is basically at some point, those families have to apply to Lagos State so that Lagos State will now give them that excision that yes, this whole area is belonging to this family. So this family now have right to sell lands on this area. So
So,
that's what that excision is usually about. So when you see it on the land, it means okay, sometimes so it'll be like excision. It means the family they are buying the land from have gotten their own title. So they have a title that from the government to show that this family owns this land, and those are the people those developers are buying from.
so it means it's advisable to get that kind of property, that title.
I won't go as far as say advisable, but if the extension is done well, I would always recommend, even after all this talk where I don't talk, follow lawyer, talk to your lawyer, so that because the thing with titles and land is I don't think I've ever done a deal with a land with a perfect title. There's always going to be one comma. So what you usually do is consult with your lawyer, see the one you can work on, how you can fix it, and all those things. So each land deal is kind of unique, property deal is kind of unique. Rarely would you see a perfect title property. But once you have a good lawyer working with you to give you the risk, so you understand, okay, this is the risk involved in this one, this is the risk involved in that. Like literally on my way to this conversation, I was having one about a particular project we're looking at starting about the title, and he was explaining, okay, it's a lease, these are the risks, and I'm like, is this risk really worth it for us? So you still need to consult a lawyer to be able to know exactly what you're getting into, depending on the uniqueness of the property.
All right.
Hope you're good.
So there is another one, freehold.
The freehold is not exactly a title document. It's not exactly a title. So freehold is basically saying that it's free from government what do you call it, acquisition. So it's a free. The land does not have any issue basically, but people use it as that. One thing I've noticed when it comes to title documents is a lot of terms are being used that are not exactly title documents, but it's like some people will say registered survey. Registered survey is not exactly a title document. Registered survey is just registered survey. It's a thing on its own. So it's
Okay.
just one of those documents that you can have you generally have on a property, but it's not the main title document.
So there are still a couple of things that needs to be added to that
Exactly.
survey register.
Exactly.
So how
So
do we go about that? Is it that is the company that is selling the land that will work on that, or you have
definitely
to get a
it's the company
lawyer?
that is that is selling the land that work on it. But if you are buying, you have to have your own lawyer you've consulted. So if you've consulted your lawyer and your lawyer is like, okay, to perfect this thing is not cost, let's buy it. It's a good deal. You can still buy it. Everything you weigh your risk, see how much you are willing to risk, and you go all the way.
All
So
right, thank you.
Felix, yeah,
Okay, good evening, sir.
good evening.
Um, I don't know if you can throw more light on deed of lease and sublease.
Deed of lease and sublease.
Yes.
Your voice sounds very familiar. Have we met before?
Yes, but
Oh,
no, yes, like twice, but
like twice.
because
Okay.
yeah, I was with
I get-
Kenita.
oh, yeah, the person with Kenita. Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
I should throw more light on deed of lease and sublease.
Yes, sir.
Deed of lease is when you lease a property. It's a way to show that that lease exists. So if I lease a property, I get a deed of lease. The way I get deed of assignment when I buy a property, so it's to show that I am going to be giving this property to this person for these certain years under a leasehold. Now, deed of sublease is when me that collected lease, so I've collected lease, so I now want to lease it to somebody else. So it's like second generation leasing. I will now issue a deed of sublease to the next person. For instance, most of our lease project we have, we usually get maybe like a 22-year lease from the landowners. When we will get a 22-year lease, we collect a deed of lease. Then the people who now come to buy from us, we give them 20 years, we sell 20 years to them. We now issue them a deed of sublease. So that's the major difference between the two of them. Or are you looking for much more specific questions about those documents?
No, sir, I'm fine. Thank you.
You understand it now, Abi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. BJ Premier, what's up?
Yeah, our Oga 001, Tuale. Thank you very much. We appreciate. What I want to know is
Welcome.
the difference between the Gazette and governor consent. I want to know the
Oh my, no,
difference between the two.
so I think Gazette is similar without exception. Both of them are similar.
Okay,
But governor's consent is you have already bought, you have perfected. Gazette is still
okay,
the family people that have Gazette and all those exception.
no,
So
okay.
I'm a developer. I want to go and buy land. The family people will have their Gazette or exception or all those titles. If me, I now buy from them and I go and perfect my own, me, I will not get governor's consent. But if I've not yet perfected my own, all I will have is those people's gazettes or exception title.
Mm, okay, sir.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. But maybe after to round it up, sir, please, what are the valid documents that will be on the property that can give somebody rest of mind? Maybe you can
None.
just, or maybe now, or maybe later. What are the
There's no
what
one. There's
we
no one.
want to write it down?
No, right? There's nothing to write down. There's no document you want to have that you have peace of mind. I'm telling you the
Uh,
truth. They collect your vote for people hand for this Lagos. You will have your
okay.
vote registered to the seats. They will collect it from your hand. So it's a little bit of whatever document you have, make sure you document it fully, right? You go to the extent of the law, have it. So in case
Your
anybody
own
want to do
satisfy.
a fight, at least you have document to
Hmm.
fight. So there's no one where I'll say, okay, once you have this title, go and sleep, nothing can happen. Please also let this be known. All land still belong to the government. So what you have is whatever title you want to have is like a rental. All land.
Even see of who?
C of O is the worst. C of O, even if government want to collect it now, your lease will end. It's not yet certificate of occupancy. Did you see certificate of ownership?
Occupancy.
It's occupancy. You are just staying there now. When they are ready, if they need it. But usually they won't do that because of it will cause a lot of chaos. So what they do is they just attack selected people that have choice location land. I was like my journey here, I was talking to my partner. He was telling me about one person that happened to. He has a property in Maryland. They have title, everything, and it was a leasehold because then they used to issue leasehold a lot. Time to renew. Oh yeah, government renew. They're like they have interest in the land. One thing. They have to settle heavily to get their land back. See all these hands that keep popping up, please. Okay, no problem. BJ, hope I've answered your question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Later,
Yeah,
another
you can.
one later, sir.
Please, if I've answered your question, you can take down your hand so that I will know how many questions are left. Victoria, please, you can ask yours.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Bright.
Good evening.
Yes, I want to ask, like the CFO we have in Brantford Homes.
Mm,
So now, if a client has purchased the property, are we giving a governance consent to them, or they need to go push for a governance consent? Or I just want to have clear understanding
they
of
will
that.
go and push for their own governor's consent. I don't think I've seen any developer that will give you because we don't have the right to do that. So this is how it works. We will give you a deed of assignment and all the documents you will need to process your governor's consent. So you will now go to Alausa by yourself because the reason why most companies don't do that for clients is you cannot tell how much it will cost. So it's when the person now reach Lagos, Alausa, it's Alausa that will now say, okay, this is how much, oh, this is how much, oh, this is how they will do it. So they are the ones that process it. But what we will do, we'll give you a deed of assignment, we'll give you for monthly, we'll give you survey. So with all those type documents we'll give you, you can now take it to the government and then register to get consent.
Okay.
Yeah. Aki, what's up? You can ask your question.
Yes, sir. I actually don't understand the registered conveyance. I didn't
That
get it
was
properly. Registered conveyance.
registered conveyance. The easiest way to explain is like OTO, but it does not have time limits. It's similar to C of O, but it's the old version of it. That's what they used to issue before they started doing C of O. That's the simpler explanation. So it's like a document showing that this person is the owner of the land coming from the government that this person has been acknowledged as the owner of this property. That's the basic explanation of what registered conveyance is. So they also used to call it a land title. Some people just call it land title for some reason. So registered conveyance, deed of conveyance, land title is usually the same type of documents people are referring to. But sometimes putting land title they still mean C of O. So it
So,
depends
sir,
on the context being used.
what's the difference between COVO and registered conveyance?
C of O has time limits. C of O
Okay.
is more recent. Register conveyance so far have time limits, and it's more of an old way of doing document. That's some of the difference I can tell. But there might be more profound differences, but most of them are just similar things. They are just similar things with different terms.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
No problem. Elias Joy so
Okay, good evening, sir.
good evening.
Um, my question is, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you,
Okay, the document for Bradford is C of O, right? Just as you said. Um, let's say someone buys a unit or two at Bradford. What documents exactly will be given to the client? Mm,
deed of
okay.
assignments.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, there's one person that is on up. A query, Emmanuel.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good
Please, I don't
afternoon.
understand the title, right of occupancy.
Right of occupancy.
Hello?
Where did you hear right of occupancy? Hear the right of occupancy? Because I don't think I've heard right of occupancy. But there's a there's a chance person is referring to certificate of occupancy. There's a chance person is referring to C of O, certificate of occupancy. But I've not heard right of occupancy.
I saw it on one property, but the property was in Abuja.
It's probably C of O or some other.
All
Does
right.
anybody have that question? Does anybody have any other question, please? Okay. So
Sorry,
guys,
I have a
okay,
question.
please
Um,
answer. Please ask.
the let's say a client buys 2 units and another client buys another unit from Bradford. Are we going to like um give the first client the deed of assignment and the other the same deed of assignment?
Yeah, yeah. We'll give each of them deed of assignment. What do you mean
Okay.
different?
No, like that's what I'm trying to like understand there.
Please come
Like
again.
a client buys a unit or two or more from Bradford and another client
Mm,
comes in, purchase another unit. So are we giving them the same deed of assignment that was given to the other clients? Like, it's going to be, though it's two different documents, but the same deed of assignment.
okay, the way deed of assignment works, right, is to show what the person bought. So they are
Okay,
not buying the same property. So each of them will get a deed of assignment that says,
okay,
okay, A is buying B, then this other person, B is buying, because each unit has its unit number and other details there.
okay, okay.
So
I
each
understand.
he has unit number and other details, so it will be different. I'll send a sample to the group so you see. And if you come with the survey, that will show where the room is too on the building to differentiate them from each other.
Okay, okay. Understood.
Okay, no problem. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for today's class. We'll send the link this week so that you guys can for people to go back to watch and understand more. And hopefully we'll meet more and talk more about different aspects of real estate and even more details on documentation later. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Friday.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye now.
All right, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Hello, guys. Hello.